So in again the same thing. The Shakta temples, they also have the same. They have the whole Vedic way of worship, which are considered very, considered in the sense, the Vedic Brahmins consider them as higher class. Like these temples, I told you, Tirukadavu, Abhinamiyana, it is under Shivacharyas of Mayura. The priests are all under them. And it's all Tamil agama worship. There is no Sanskrit worship within the sanctum or in the festivals. It's all agamas. And the pujas they do now, for all these people who come for 70th marriage or 80th marriage, they are all in Sanskrit. The rituals for them are in Sanskrit. But the puja to the deity, the kalasa they established, it's all in Tamil Nadu. So you can see this thing is there in every single, as I was telling, only the deity is different, but the system is the same. And you can put Murugan in there, it's the same thing comes. There are places where he is worshipped according to the Vedic books. Mostly they are Sauras, or they apply Shiva's mantra to him. But there is no separate such prayer to Shanmuka you find in the Rig Veda or Yajurveda or anything in the Suttas or maybe in the Upanishads. You don't find that. So you will find very small, you can say maybe for 10-15 minutes. And then from the prayers like Shanmuka Kavacham, which are very recent writings. Recent writing doesn't mean wrong, but I'm just saying, very recent writings. So taking those prayers, they split the names and they make 108 names. Pamban Swami, he wrote in Tamil 1008 names for Subramanya. In most of the Tamil style worship of Murugan temple, which is used. But some temples don't even know that it is coming from Pamban Swami. It somehow, it got carried on from one temple to another temple. And there are also Murugan temples where the saint Arunagirinagar, who was a devotee of Subramanya, his writing is known as Tirupugal, the holy glories of Murugan. And those poems are taken and from there the names are made to do the Archana. So there also you find this. It may be just a book from somewhere recently. In many Shakta temples they read this Devi Bhagavatam, which is only 500 years old, by one Bhaskara Raya from Banaras. A great Pandit, very cool Pandit. And then he has collected stories about Shakti from various books and then he compiled it together. And it's a little bit dramatized by him. Some scenes are a little heavier than what you see in the original Puranic story. And sometimes it's put Shakti a little bit above, or maybe he got that information from somewhere, like Ramchandra trying to take his eye away to please Durga before crossing the ocean. It's also possible maybe in one Treta Yuga he did it. So we cannot outrightly say, but we can say that these are very recent books. So among the 28 Agamas, one or two books are followed in Shivacharya temples. And within the Vedic Brahmin temples, they do have a feeling that these temples are not of that, that class, because it's not Sanskrit. But if you see, when Ramanuja Acharya tried to bring Divya Prabandha, that was the same feeling which was there. And how can this be? You cannot have communication to God without Sanskrit. But now Divya Prabandha, one line of Divya Prabandha is chanted and another line is chanted and Abhisheka is being done in Panchratri temples with Divya Prabandha. So Ramacharya brought it as equal to Purusha Sutta or Sri Sutta or anything. Mainly our subject is that there is this Tamil Agama worship and there is the Vedic Agama worship. And how many of the agamas are being actually followed? If you see, they're not all of them. But agamas are available. They're certainly available. Especially the Tamil agamas are available, all of them. Like a few places like this, there is Kundrakudi, there is Mayuram. They have the thing. Some years ago they were even interested in printing them. I do not know what happened to that. Because I saw the Kundrakudi, the junior Kundrakudi coming to that program in VH, what I was doing. He came and they brought a few books with the same year of plan to English, which was probably they didn't find finance. But they are available, texts are available. Some scholars have taken interest in putting it into English. Early time scholars during the British time. So they are there. And all those, both Sanskrit and Tamil agamas, as far as Shaivism is concerned, they are there in Tanjore, in the Saraswati library, the King's library. They are all, well organized, and they know where that book is. And they have register of them and everything, so some are declared as rare books. You just have to get a permission from the register of the library. And they are actually there.
Recently in the papers, they brought up some news about the Chidambaram temple, how there is some dispute. They don't want the Tamil prayers to be sung inside the temple. So is there a conflict between the two systems, or is it just a political thing in that particular case? Like between the actual temples and between the acharyas in the Shiva lines, is there a disagreement between those that follow the Tamil agamas and those that follow the Sanskrit
Vedic
agamas?
Well, there is always each group thinking that we are the ones, and especially the Vedic ones thinking that we are higher. If we are two, then we are higher. But in each group there is a thing that we are the ones. And they have enough reason to think that, because their prayers, which they communicated to the deity, there was response, and there were pastimes. So they have enough reasons to think that, if I can sing Tevaram, then Lord Shiva will be pleased. So why he couldn't be pleased? That's one thing. And tell you another thing that comes to the temple ritual. Because when you establish a temple, that's a general code, whether it is Tamil agama or Sanskrit agama or even Tantric, which is nothing to do with Vedas and Pancharatra also. When you establish a deity, then you promise the deity certain things. And in that also comes what method of ritual you are going to follow. And that depends on various things. That the group of Pandits who advise the king, it's their responsibility to tell him. Because say, the ritual you follow will get certain kind of grain in the month of May.